Welcome, everybody. Josh Hudson here with Club Fantasy's No Punt Intended, and we are here with a special edition. This is our second annual Women of Fantasy Football event. I am so incredibly excited to have Lauren Carpenter and Faith Enes back co-hosting this event. We're here to shine a spotlight on the ladies of not just fantasy football, but also the football industry as a whole. This show kicks it off year 2. We're starting with Kate Michelle Magdzuik from BallBlast Football, and we have Stacie Stern, the chairperson of the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association, will be coming on with us later. And we're announcing the winners of our Travis Kelce signed football and Kyle Pitts signed football, where so far we've raised $430 for the Women's Sports Foundation. So, everybody, stay tuned.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Faith, let's just can we make fun of Josh for a minute, because this is kind of like what?
Literally everything I planned to say in my welcome intro, he literally just stole my thunder.
Yeah,
so Faith,
like,
can I just say what he probably did? So I'm gonna guess. This is how I envision this happening. Josh wrote you and said, like, hey, do you have an idea of like an intro for the show? And you were like, yeah, this is what I'm going to say. And then he was like, gotcha. And now you're on the spot. So best of luck to Faith.
Right?
And this adventure we're on together. I love it.
I mean, year 2, like episode 1, we were going to come in strong. But we were going to be like, wow, we got this. We've done this before. We know what we're doing. We were going to look professional.
Faith, it's time to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
And then the dudes just ruined it.
Always.
They
ruin everything.
That's why we're lesbians, actually. Like, fun fact. Little known fact.
Wait,
that
what?
is why we are married to each other.
You're like,
I know.
No, we are sisters. We're just kidding.
Oh my God.
No,
That's a funny background story. So I was not aware of, like, I met Kate and Michelle. Oh my God. Is it 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
Probably,
It feels like it's like forever ago. And like they both have the last name. Like I didn't really like see their faces too much. So I did kind of assume like sisters. So I was talking with them and they're like, no, Lauren, we're married. And I'm like, I am such an idiot. My bad. So then I proceeded to stalk both of their Facebook feeds, and they have the most beautiful wedding pictures I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
really
Just
are.
yes, it is absolutely
Thank
gorgeous.
you.
But now that we went on this crazy tangent, Faith, do you want to like try to do like an intro?
Yeah, try to do the intro.
Semi-professional.
Now that we are, like 3 minutes into this, welcome everybody to No Pun Intended. But as we like to call it for the next 4 weeks, Women of Fantasy Football, because we are women and we play fantasy football. Some of us write about it, and some of us are on 64 different shows and topics and sites about all of it, because rock stars like that. So if you were with us last year, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming back. Thank you
Thanks for putting up with us.
that too. Lauren and I can be a bit much.
No.
I thought you were going to say something else, but
Lauren and I can be a bit.
and then which both are true.
It kept us all in suspense for like about 30 milliseconds, which was great.
You know, that's what I do. I like to build suspense. That's important in live streams and all of that fun stuff. So yes, I am Faith Enes. You can find me on Twitter at @FF_leap of_faith. I don't write things. I edit other people's writings. So if you're looking for my work, good luck.
Which is equally
makes
important.
everyone
Can
sound
we give
good.
everybody
Yes.
a round of applause? Let's give the editors of the fantasy football industry a round of applause, because
Huge props.
you literally make all of this
Editors
happen.
make
Yeah.
or break
For real.
any of the content. Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Seriously.
editors do make people sound so good. And that is what Faith does, is she makes all of us sound good when we put words onto paper, because in our minds, we're like, that sounds genius. And she's like, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
None of this made sense. Ambiguous pronoun reference, wrong grammar. Where is this comma? This should be a semicolon. It's a situation.
Mhm.
I've said it multiple times. The Oxford comma is your friend.
Bestie.
BFFs.
I will say we don't use the Oxford comma over at BallBlast
We're
Football,
trying to
but-
get her to let us. She won't let us. I'm trying to make it happen.
You blaspheme. You blaspheme. Okay, here we are talking about grammar.
Blaspheme. Blaspheme.
They blaspheme.
BallBlast.
Well played. Touche. Blaspheme.
All right, Faith, you should finish the intro. Jeez, it's been 5 minutes.
This is all my
Well,
fault.
now I'm like bothered because you don't use an Oxford comma. Jeez. So anyway, my lovely co-host over here, Lauren Carpenter, aka at Stepmom Lauren on Twitter. Lauren, tell us about you.
Oh, let's see. I don't know my name anymore because I work a lot. So who are you? It's so nice to meet y'all. No, so I am a writer, I am a podcaster, and I guess like video person. Do you call them videocaster? I don't know. But I work at several different outlets. You guys can find my work usually just on my website, which is stepmomlauren.com. I am woefully behind updating that, but it's, we're heading into preseason right now. So I have a few days that I get to catch up a little bit. But yeah, I am very excited to be doing this yet again this year because this is so special. And one of the things that makes this so special is Kate and Michelle, I've been friends with for quite some time. They reached out to me. Actually, I don't even know how it happened. We just like randomly reached out to each other. And we have been able to develop a relationship that has been based on fantasy football, and it has grown into such a wonderful friendship, which was kind of, the whole point of really highlighting women in this industry. And it's not just in fantasy football. We're highlighting women in general about everything that they do. And we're powerhouses. And this is exactly what we have to put up with kind of on the daily with all of the other things that we juggle. But guess what? Just because we're ladies, it doesn't mean that we don't like sports. Not all of us have to watch The Bachelorette every single night. We also like our reality television to focus around a pigskin. So this is why we're here. This is why we're talking. And this is why I am so excited to have my good friends, Kate and Michelle, here with us as our first guest. And I am thrilled that I get to do this again with my other good friend, Faith Enes. Let's go. I am so excited.
Lauren, you said our friendship is based around fantasy football. I feel like it's based around Tito's.
Yeah, it is. And like free Tito's. Because I wrote to them and I was like, hey, sponsor us. They're like, we don't do sponsors, but here's some free Tito's. I'm like, that works too.
That works funny. You got us free Tito's.
I think we should check back in to see if they're doing sponsorships.
We should do that again.
We should. Okay. Remember us? Yeah, we're kind of a big deal now.
Yeah,
we did. We wrote them when we were absolutely nothing. We were like, we do sponsor literally
our 4th of July. It was right before we did our 4th of July. We got hammered. Like, we couldn't say buzzwords, so we said them anyway. And we're drinking mimosas. It was fantastic.
And I think that was when I was talking about the Clio accent. And I said, call me now for your free reading.
No, Miss Cleo. It was pretty amazing.
I was
actually
making
have questions for you guys.
Yes.
Legitimate questions. Sorry,
Faith. Okay.
My bad.
Do you want me to ask them in the... No.
Oh, jeez. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Don't forget about Josh. Whatever.
So you guys joined us last year towards the end of our Women of Fantasy Football events. You are here with us now, kicking it off. It's been a year. We were mid-pandemic last year. We're still mid-pandemic, apparently.
Ish.
Ish, exactly. Pandemic adjacent, we'll call it. What is new with you guys? What's happened in the last year since we saw you?
Oh my God!
So quick, you have like 30 seconds. Let's go.
Right?
So I got a job at NFL Network, so I now work for NFL Network as a researcher. It's been a blast. I work behind the scenes on their network shows. It's been a ball blast at NFL Network. But I work behind the scenes on the show and just like help them create their content and all of that good stuff. It's been a blast, I'll say again. But then she also got a full-time job in the industry.
The last time we all were together, I was a full-time nurse in the pediatric transplant, and I since left the nursing industry, which was a very big and senseless leap into sports journalism. And now I'm working with Vox Media full-time as a editorial coordinator for DK Nation, which it's been such an amazing experience. But I get to talk about sports all day, which is freaking amazing and is the greatest honor.
Yeah,
ever.
she doesn't even just talk about football like all of us. Like I'll be like, what are you working on today? And she's like, NASCAR. I'm like, like, sorry.
To be fair, that's my reaction
What are they
to
doing?
when I'm working on
Taking
NASCAR.
a left turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of them.
I'm literally just making myself so dizzy I'm going to throw up. That's what it is. But that's okay. That's something for everybody. And I'm just like really honored to have the privilege of like getting to talk about these things that people love for a living. It's cool.
So can you clarify what an editorial coordinator does? Like,
Ooh.
what do you do?
She hates this question.
Oh. So honestly, like I want to give a huge shout out to Vox Media because I do think they give me a lot of leeway with my role because I really like to write. And that's like my first and foremost thing. Shout out to my mama who passed away 2 years ago. She always wanted me to be a writer. And I randomly just hopped my booty into this industry and just started writing stuff. Didn't think it would ever be about sports, but here we are. And like, this is just sort of what I do on a day-to-day. I would say the role of editorial coordinator is I support all of the writing staff and making sure we can produce as much quality content as possible. I work on search engine optimization. I work on just like supporting all of our writing staff and making sure they have the resources that they need to create the content that they need to create. It's the most ambiguous job in the world. I get to write sometimes, like I get to write a lot, and I don't think most editorial coordinators get to do that, but my boss is amazing.
I have a question for you, Kate. So you basically went from pediatric transplant as a nurse, which is obviously you know, idiots can do that. Am I right? No.
Of course.
So you went from this incredibly challenging industry, but what I'm hearing from this is that you are so good. And this is one of the reasons I love you so much. And one of the reasons I love your pets so much is because pets really encompass their owners, if you will. I want to call them their like life mates because that's literally what pets are. But Kate, one of the things that you really do embody with so many things is you are one of the most helpful, kindest people that I've ever met. So you went from literally helping children in transplant, and now you are taking every single moment of your time and helping everyone else succeed while you are succeeding as well. And that's one of the things that I really want to point out about your job is it may be ambiguous to your app, your tiny little, you know, itty bitty, what do I do every day? But at the end of the day, guys, Kate is helping people succeed. Kate is in that place where she can make sure that everyone else does a great job. So they have the resources, so they have the tools to be able to do so, which is very exciting for anyone starting off in this industry. You want to be with a person like Kate Magdzuik, and you also want to be with a person like Michelle. Two opposites. If I were to compare you to animals.
Ooh, I want to hear this. I love hearing
Kate,
all of that, but I need to hear my animal.
Yes, Kate, you are a deer. Now, not a skittish deer, not stuck in the headlights deer. You are one of those very sweet, but majestic, but incredibly intelligent deer that you just kind of see and you're like just so, I don't want to say fawny, because I don't want to say young.
Tell me I'm the kind of deer that makes eye contact with
Absolutely. You're the one that comes up and
back.
You're like, hey, where's my apple? How you doing today? I like your dog. Like, that's the cool, fun deer.
She's
and
also
then
the one that can run to your car.
Oh,
yeah. You cannot run in front of your car. Oh, stop it. Quiet you. Now, Michelle, want to know what animal you are?
What?
You're a grizzly bear.
What? So why?
You're a grizzly bear. You guys offset each other so well. So, Kate, it's just super awesome for me to hear that you're still in that industry. You get to do what you love to do. You get to talk about sports. You get to be able to help people. And not only that, but you get to kind of live that dream that your mom had set out for you. So I love this. And that was not a question. I just wanted to say kudos. Congratulations. Mwah, love
Thank you. That was honestly the sweetest thing anybody's ever said.
I don't know how to take the grizzly bear comment, but it's fine.
It's very sweet.
Why? You are super protective like a grizzly bear, but
Yes.
you're also quite fierce and ferocious, but you also are fair. Like bears are cool, you know, like whatever, we'll chill. But if you cross me,
Bears are so
let's go.
cute.
If you come at my cubs or you come at, you know, for in this case, it'd be your mate, watch out. You know, that's a good thing.
Or Zach
Bears
Moss.
are cool.
Or
Zach Moss.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
Or her mate, Zach Moss.
I think I was supposed to ask you guys a question in this, so let me like throw that out there. Besides, I'm just like gushing over the two of you, like, oh my god, you're my best friends. Like, you're my best friends. All right, hold on.
I
Let me
just want to say for the
here.
record that Scott Fish is watching, so be on your best behavior.
Oh, hi Scott. How are you? I will also see you this weekend.
Speaking of bears, fish.
Oh yes.
Bears love fish. Scott Fish.
Michelle is eating the trout that is Scott Fish. Like,
hey.
Okay.
By the way, guys, we are going to Shale Brewing this Friday night with Scott Fish. In case anybody at the Fantasy Football Expo wants to join. If anybody's going to be in Canton, I think it's on like the north side of Canton, but I would love to meet every single one of you. But I think all of you would probably prefer to hang out with Scott Fish, who will also be there. So
he's definitely
I'll put myself
he's the headliner
and be like, I'll probably be there too, guys. Let me ask you a question so that I can actually, pretend like I'm professional and know what I'm doing here. But for both of you ladies, I want you guys both to take this question too. And as quickly or as long as you want to do, what kind of advice would you give to someone that's either been in the industry for a little bit of time or who's just starting off in the industry? Because you're kind of living the dream job of people who want to be in fantasy football. Mm-hmm. What kind of advice would you want to give to those people?
I think
not all at once, please.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing, and it sucks to hear, and I know it's kind of like the opposite of way culture is going now. It's like, well, don't promote working too much, like we want to have lives, and I understand that. But to make it in this industry, you really kind of have to work your normal 9-to-5 job, whatever that is. And then come home and work your butt off in fantasy until about, midnight to 1. I really didn't sleep for a good, 2 years there. It was 4 hours, 5 hours of sleep. I'm not saying that's how everyone has to go, but that's how I made my way.
And that's not even to say that you have to do that unpaid. I did the same thing and I was compensated for my time. I know there's this whole culture about doing work for free and needing to pay your dues and all. I don't even think it's about that, but you do need to put time in. To cut you off.
I think being consistent and putting out good work, actually, it's not even you have to be a stats person, but giving reasons why you believe in opinion, and don't be scared to give your hot takes. That is fine. I get so annoyed with Twitter. It's oh, hot take just for the click. It's no, I actually believe in this and this is why. And I have a ton of data to back it up or a ton of reasons why. And I'm going to fight for my opinion. I'm not just throwing something out there to throw it, but we also don't have to just sit in this little tiny box and never think out of space. Never think differently than consensus. So just putting yourself out there, you're going to be hated on no matter if you do or you don't, so you might as well put yourself out there and risk it.
Yeah, I think.
And my motto is fake it until you make it. Right. I love that. None of us, even as just adults, it's not even about the fantasy world. None of us as adults know what in the hell we are doing. So just fake it until you make it. It'll happen.
I agree with everything you said. But my advice, especially, I want to hit on this so much because I do feel the first ever Fantasy Football Expo is where we got our first traction in the industry. And I want to hit on that so hard. So we went to the first ever Fantasy Football Expo. It was canceled last year, but the year prior, we literally showed up and it was so embarrassing because we had bought a booth and we just came to the booth and everybody had decked out their booths.
We had no banner.
We had no banner. We had nothing.
We had
it was
shirts,
just we had
really
t-shirts,
bad shirts.
And it was me and Michelle, and we had business cards, and we crashed the BW3 event, which was held for the industry folks, and we literally went up to everybody at that event, Pat Doherty, here's my business card. Here's the BallBlast Fantasy Football business card. Marcus Grant, here's the BallBlast Fantasy Football. And
we left stacks of them in bathrooms, and we would ask guys to go put them in the guys' bathrooms.
Yes.
Yeah. So because us leaving them in the women's bathroom is not maybe going to provide the most people to respond to our podcast, but we would literally go up to guys and be hey, do you mind leaving this stack of business cards on the counter in the bathroom when you go in there? We were crazy.
We were aggressive. And I literally, so Jeff Ratcliffe, he was at this event at the expo 2 years ago. And I said, I was talking to him. I introduced myself, like I was a huge fan of his. And I said, like, hey, Jeff, can I see your phone? And I literally followed myself on his Twitter. And I was like, I woke up the next morning. I was like, why did you do that?
I had a few drinks.
Oh, yeah, I had a few drinks.
I was gonna say, 'cause I got a few calls and text messages on the next morning from that too.
Oh no, like there were some regrets the next day, but I also realized that like these sort of connections that I made,
networking is key.
Networking is so key, and like you can be as accurate as you want, but if you're a butthole,
yes,
nobody wants to listen to your content, and
I just need to hire you either.
Nobody wants to. You want to work with somebody that you want to work with, and like you can be as accurate as you want, but if you're not entertaining and if you're not pleasant to work with, you're not going to make it in this industry. Like prioritize networking, prioritize relationships, prioritize your work ethic, and then I think worry about accuracy next, because like accuracy can be taught, but a lot of those other skills like networking and all of those other things, like you can teach analysis, you can't teach the intangibles. And that's sort of my advice.
I think I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. You can't teach the intangibles.
Ooh,
I like it. It's like my new fantasy football name.
I'm gonna make that a banner. I love it.
So I have a question that I've been wondering for the longest time. Where did the name BallBlast come from?
So actually,
conveniently take a drink right now.
No,
I did too. I was like, whoop.
There's not really a good story. So
no, there is a good story. We need to give shout outs.
So it's our friend that we played in a fantasy league with back in the day. A few years, 5 years ago, we started this women's league off of fantasy footballers. We found women's only league on their Patreon platform.
For the Foot Clan.
Great Patreon platform.
Yes.
Awesome. Go
So
find
amazing.
them. You already know them. It's not, I don't have to plug
We're
them.
not, this isn't news,
Yeah.
guys.
You're not getting paid for
We
that.
discovered this hot little new talent out of Arizona
Yeah.
called the Fantasy
No
Footballers.
one's heard of them.
One of the ladies that we played with, her name was Camille, and Kate was just
still
starting-
is.
Kate wanted to start up a small blog. Oh my goodness. So Kate, it was just Kate that wanted to start up a small blog because she's a good writer, right? And I, at the time, was not a writer. So she was just like, I want to start up a blog writing about fantasy. I was like, okay, do you? And she's like, what do I name it? So we asked a group of girls, and she's like, what about BallBlast Weekly? That's what it was called, like BallBlast Weekly.
Yeah.
So she wrote a column, BallBlast Weekly. I got maybe like 2 views a week. And then from there, it just evolved into BallBlast Football and turned into something completely different with podcasting and our website and all that. But that's kind of the whole story. It's not like a fun name, but
yeah, Camille Watson.
blast your takes into space.
Yeah, it sort of like evolved from BallBlast. It was like a joke, and then it was like, oh, like balls to the walls, get ballsy. Like it sort of turned into this thing, and then we realized, like, I think that's something that we bring that's sort of unique to the industry is that we don't hold back on our takes. They're analytics based, they're stat driven, but I'm not going to hold back because I'm uncomfortable that you might be mad that I think, oh my gosh, who is that? That's
Derek,
not even me, guys.
probably.
Derek over
That would be really embarrassing if that was you.
It was tweeting from my account.
I've been
No,
hacked.
if that was
I've been hacked. Yes.
if that was Kate, I would walk out the room right now and be like, you're embarrassing. I think this is Derek Overby, who is an awesome contributor over at BallBlast.
Oh, Derek's
And
such a
our
good
social
person.
media lead. Like we have such a great group of people, but I think that's like the thing that we try to impress upon all of our writers. We have such an amazing group of writers on our team right now. And we try to embolden you. Like you are, like Michelle said, you are going to get hate no matter what. You could tweet consensus all you want. You're going to get hate.
Oh, there's been times I've tweeted something where I'm like, you know what? This is such a safe tweet. Like, no one's going to be mad at me. And no matter what, someone's going to be mad at me.
Nothing's ever safe.
I wrote a tweet the other day about Jared Cook's a good pick in the 15th round. And people are like, she's a fucking, she's an idiot.
She's
no effort. She's an idiot. Like, why does anyone listen to her? It's like, oh my goodness. I'm telling you to take Jared Cook in the 15th round. Relax.
0 risk, folks. And he's probably going to be a top 10 tight end. So that bad.
So you mentioned that BallBlast started as a weekly blog, BallBlast Weekly. And that was how many years ago?
3.
No,
Okay.
it's like
So-
4, 3 or 4.
Was
Yeah.
it 3?
3 or 4 years ago, BallBlast was a weekly blog that Kate started because she wanted to write and she was good at writing. Where's BallBlast at now? Like, tell us all of the things that are encompassed under the BallBlast name.
Yeah, we have so much right now. We have the website, which is ballblastfootball.com. We have our podcast that we post every Thursday morning, an episode, and we just actually hit our highest listeners of a week ever. We just hit 17,000 listeners in our latest episode.
It, ladies. Like, so, say it again. 17,000. What? Continue.
Yeah. And we hit our highest month, 90,000 listeners this month, which is pretty awesome.
Wow.
We just dropped our first draft guide ever. So we've been working on that all summer with our entire team. All of our teammates had a hand in it and wrote at least one chapter. And we just actually released that today. Very exciting. It was a huge project.
So bury the lead. What?
Yeah.
We repeat right now. So you have your very first draft guide ever, and it dropped today. Where can we find this? How do we work this up? Let's go.
The timing is impeccable, actually.
You can go to the ballblastfootball.com and to our merch store, and right there will be our draft kit. It's $9.99, and you get 100 pages of fantasy football advice, as well as our rankings and draft sheets, and so much cool information. It's not like a normal draft guide. Like, we have like chapters in there,
like
just like
cool
teaching you.
Guide.
Yeah.
It's not like a regular draft guide. It's a cool draft
But it does
guide.
also teach you how to, ways to draft. It's not telling you who to draft. It's like, how do I find these gems in the late rounds? Like, what kind of strategy do I want to go for? We show all the different types of strategies and what works for you.
Our goal is to make you a better fantasy
I was very
player.
proud of our team. So if you want to go check that out, ballblastfootball.com, merch store, $9.99.
Yeah, we've definitely sort of evolved like this. I'm telling you, like, when I say I was talking to nobody when I was writing my blog, I spent like 3.5 weeks on a Steelers article breaking down like the fantasy implication. Like, I was so into this article, and I think I got 8 views, and I was like so proud. I was like, oh my God, I got 8 views on this. And like, it's so funny to see how that evolved. Like, I just wanted to like get my thoughts out there, and it evolved from there. But now we have this entire group of folks at BallBlast Football. Like, we just check out our social and stuff. We've just got such a great team. But
and I will say, like, just start your own, social media, start your own brand. One of my favorite quotes when I first started that I kept in my background was, "Be so good they can't ignore you." And I just love that. I just love that quote. Like, just put yourself out there and be, give strong opinions with backed up advice, and just be so good they literally can't ignore you. You're just out there. Steffi Smalls is someone that reminds me of lately. She's so out there, like, you cannot ignore her, which is pretty awesome. Like, that's how you get your name out there. So just go for it.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
I love it. And one of the things I will say too, knowing you ladies as long as I've known you, is like, there is a lot of research. There's a lot of information. Everything that backs up what these ladies say, they work their butts off every single day to do something that they love. And this is one of the examples why we love having you. First of all, I love having you as my friends. But one of the things we love about having you on our second annual show of Women of Fantasy Football is you do encompass what it is that we're trying to promote for women in this industry. Is that, we're not typical people, but no one in fantasy football is typical. We're talking educated guessing, and it's learning how to navigate these waters that I think you guys have done so well. I mean, not even so well. You've blown it out of the water, which is blasted it out of the water. Excuse me. But yeah, you guys have done such an amazing job. Ayo, what?
Ayo, I love it. Thank you so much for, like, I'm going to leave this podcast with a very big head.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, girl, just do it. Get it.
And my hair is not going to be any better than it is right now. But
I can't. I scheduled a haircut before Canton, and that's not going to happen. Like, I haven't even eaten dinner yet. So I was like, haircut's probably not going to happen.
No.
I legitimately
You're
was
beautiful no matter what.
I was thinking of texting my hair person, and I'm like, do you have availability tomorrow afternoon? I will gladly leave work for an appointment. If I can get my hair done.
But you know what? That actually is so, like, such an interesting point. I've been thinking, like, oh, I'm so nervous. I want to look pretty for the expo. And then I was like, God, 90% of probably the people in attendance are men who are not thinking, I hope I look pretty for the expo. And I'm like, you know what?
Are my nails done?
Are my nails done?
I know. I actually thought about going to get my nails done, which is not something I ever do. And I was like, you know what? Like, that's not me. I just don't like, that's not something I prioritize, which I am so jealous of people who do. My biggest issue is I have zero patience and I can't sit there. I hate getting my hair done. I hate getting my nails done. I love when they are actually done. I am very happy, but I'm just like, you know what? Guys aren't going to go get their nails done. They're not going to go get a spray tan. So you know what? I'm not going to do it.
I live in Florida and I haven't exited my house because it's too hot. So I'm like the palest Floridian on earth.
And also to the guys out there that do get their nails done and spray tans, like
go for it. I wish I
do
did.
You.
Yeah, like
you
I want to do it. Yeah,
I love it.
Josh is getting his haircut tomorrow. Actually,
Yeah, Josh just informed us that he's getting his hair done tomorrow.
Show off.
You know, hey.
Josh literally wants to show off as we all roll up with our grungy little haircuts. And Josh is just going to be like, pew.
Josh, I got my haircut in 2 years.
Josh is going to be a peacock at the expo.
Yeah.
It's
for sure. A huge show up. Like he's going to be sponsored by NBC by the time we're done with this expo for sure.
Ladies, thank you. Yes, Scott, that does count. Ladies, thank you.
And he got a haircut
for joining us. We are thrilled that you helped us kick off our second year of Women of Fantasy Football events. I would like to say that we will see you this weekend for sure, if not Friday evening. But I have a question for you.
Ooh.
Josh is ready to roll to come in and announce our raffle winners for the signed footballs, the Travis Kelce and the Kyle Pitts football. Would you like to stick around with us?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Josh.
Is that a question?
Sure.
All right. Apparently, I'm.
He's been waiting in the
here
wings, just like dying to jump in, and
Yeah.
he's just like, "Let me in."
He's like, guys, I'm getting a haircut.
It's in the party.
Guys, Josh and I are flying up together on Friday afternoon, and then we're gonna be in a car together for 8 hours on Saturday. So
Bless.
yeah.
God bless you.
God bless
Here we go.
Josh.
Well, how fun.
So by the way,
I was in
kudos
this.
on these amazing giveaways. We have a signed Kyle Pitts football, and what's the other one?
Like, Travis Kelce.
Signed Travis
Oh.
Kelce. Signed
Kyle Pitts
memorabilia,
football.
folks. Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce. This is like mind-blowing to
amazing.
me. Like I
So
can't.
we're ready to
Like,
find out who wins?
Oh,
I
I'm
put my name
nervous.
in a lot, so it better be me. I don't even think I'm eligible.
You got to donate to be eligible, Lauren.
I know.
Hashtag throw that down. Josh Jacobs. I feel like that
I
is.
feel like he's not.
That's not real.
Thank God we're not giving away Raiders gear because
I
I,
know.
feel like
Right?
that would be.
Here you go, Josh Jacobs. Here's your football back.
Congratulations,
Congratulations, Joshua
Joshua.
Jacobs.
Also,
if it's
let
the
us know
Joshua
if you're
Jacobs
real.
from the Raiders, you're dead to me.
No,
Week 14.
it's not. I did establish this. He's a gentleman that I'm in a dynasty league in.
Oh, hey, get it, Mr.
Josh
Jacobs.
saw the donation
Congratulations.
come in, and he was like, "I need to source this. Like, we
Yeah,
need to,
I
we need to
would.
make sure."
Like, hi, my name is Michael Bolton. Is it?
Right.
Is
I
it?
bet.
There we go. All right. And now
Is this Travis Kelce?
this is Travis Kelce. Yep.
Ow!
All right. So let's see who is the winner.
I feel
Well,
like
it's the same
there's more names on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, they're spinning so fast.
Oh,
Oh my
get
God,
out.
it's
You
gonna
want to
be-
win again.
No.
Oh.
Oh my gosh!
Phew.
All
That was
right.
close.
Joshua Jacobs almost just won
Wolfgang
both of those.
Sabalo.
footballs.
I know, right? Oh, that was
As
crazy.
that was happening, I was like, "Oh my God, do they have rules in place? Like,
I know.
this is going to turn into like a boat
This could have
race
been a
of-
situation very quickly.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Wolfgang. Is that your full name,
Is that your
Wolfgang?
real name?
I
That's what he
require
registered as,
cookware
so
from
I
you.
will be sending these out tomorrow morning before I go get my haircut for the expo. So I'm going to bid you ladies adieu. Thank you so much, Kate and Michelle, for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, honestly, and I can't wait
Honored.
to give you both a huge hug at the expo on
The
Saturday
biggest.
or Sunday.
Cannot wait to meet you all. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, everybody, don't forget Shell Brewing, 7:00 Friday night.
Got you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, ladies, so very much. We will see you, literally this weekend.
Thank you guys for having us.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Talk to you this weekend, girls. Mwah.
Mwah. Lauren,
Yes.
our next guest is here. I do too.
If you guys want to talk about a boss lady, my goodness, we have the boss lady coming in. I cannot wait. OMG. She just said hi to me backstage, and I was really excited. Kind of fangirling out a little bit, but I'll compose myself.
Lauren, compose yourself. Our next guest, if you have not been paying attention, is the chair of FSGA, the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association. Ladies, gentlemen, fantasy football fans everywhere, Stacie Stern.
Woo! If she comes in, thank you, Josh. Hi, Stacie. Hi. Sorry, your intro was a little delayed. I'll blame Josh later. That's totally fine.
Always blame Josh.
Always.
Absolutely. It's always Josh's fault.
Always.
How are you
Everything.
guys?
Forever. Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy
Thank
to be joining
you
you and so excited. And by the way, watching the segment before was like so much fun. And I'm like, God, this is really cool. I've never been part of something that's all about the women of fantasy football. And I saw Scott Fish's little note, and he is one of the best guys out there. But this is very cool to have all the ladies together.
I completely agree. And so I just totally cut Faith off there. That's what I do. I like ninja judo chop her, and I'm like, no, I speak. Because I'm full of myself. That's what I do. But again, I'm like thrilled. Like, and I said earlier, I'm like kind of geeking out right now. So thank you so much for joining us. Now I feel like I wish I did my hair and like my nails.
Oh my God. No, stop. I was listening to you guys talk about trying to get, the hair done before you go to Canton. And it's like, these are the things that I don't think the boys have to worry about as much as we do, right? Yeah.
Right.
It's one of those things that is like,
And
I'm going to a conference. Got to color the gray.
And I know the girls were talking about how like they were gonna get it done, and Lauren said she was gonna get a haircut, but she doesn't think it's gonna happen. And personally, for me, it's not about anybody else. I honestly could care less what somebody thinks. I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm gonna be on a stage. I don't want to have roots that are not the same color as the rest of my hair.
I know.
I don't want to have to look at pictures and go, ew.
Right.
I don't do my hair for my husband. I do my hair for me because I like it. So yeah, it has nothing to do with that. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And that's something I say too, because, we're on, podcasts, we're, on social media, blah, 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 pictures, blah, blah, blah. My whole thing is I'm like, I'm married. That's the only person I'm trying to impress besides my reflection in the mirror. But I'm usually a lot more harsh on my reflection in the mirror because I'm like, oh, I didn't pluck my eyebrows. Oh my goodness. Another thing that guys don't have to worry about. It's like a thing. It's a thing.
Well,
it's
some
a thing.
should worry about their eyebrows, but
right. Am I right? Faith, let me jump in here really quick because this is something that I would love to just get your take on here, Stacie, from your perspective. Give us, for anyone who does not know what you do, tell us what it is that you're doing, because what I hear out of this is amazing boss lady, chairwoman, and amazing. So tell us what it is that you do. Tell us how do you rule this? Let's go.
Okay. So my day job is I work for FanDuel in government affairs, and I go out to states and meet with legislators to pass laws for fantasy sports and for legal sports betting.
Nice.
So started out in the fantasy sports specific case, and as PASPA was overturned and sports betting was then up to the states to become legal, added that into the repertoire, if you will. And so I've actually been in the fantasy sports industry since 2001 and started in a marketing role for a small company here in Arizona and learned everything that I could about running a fantasy sports business, like an actual gameplay operation. And at one point, the person who started it sold it to a larger VC company that was like, we don't really know anything about running this. Could you stay on and run it like as the general manager?
Please help.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was kind of a dream for me at that moment, and like getting the responsibility, learning everything I could about how to run a business and a fantasy sports business at that. And then, but I didn't have to take the financial risk. So that was kind of nice. And then I became involved with the FSGA. Back then it was just the Fantasy Sports Trade Association. Now it's Fantasy Sports and Gaming. Back in like 2010, and joined the board and got to know a ton of great people in the industry. And I was hooked and really wanted to really serve the industry, right? And help it grow and help it get, national attention, but also credibility. Like, we're not just fools that play this silly little game. And, this is something that is important to us, and we love it. And it's, more than a hobby for a lot of us. And so that was kind of the fight that I wanted to take to the streets, if you will.
That's totally awesome. I know that there are people who I interact with on Twitter. I've seen her on Twitter when talking about like DFS and all this stuff. They're all bummed because they can't play because their states gambling's not legal.
Yep.
And I'm like, if I want to waste my money on fantasy football, like, let me.
Right, you're an adult. I mean, as far as I can tell, you're an adult, Faith, and you should be able to make your own decisions, right?
I mean, I can go waste money on comic books, or I'm going to get a lot of hate from the Josh, most importantly, like comic books or toys or
video games.
I could buy
Getting your hair done.
Getting your hair did. Yeah,
That's expensive.
Important, Lauren. That is not a waste of money, ma'am.
That is true, actually. It's a good investment.
I mean,
Totally agree.
you can spend as much money as you want to on alcohol, but you can't decide to spend money on playing fantasy football.
I know.
Like, that's
Speaking of which,
that's dumb to me.
I just got today. I'm going to call it Fantasy Football Tequila because Jeremy Levine, who founded Underdog Fantasy, he's been in the industry. And he was the founder of Draft and then Star Street before that. So he's already had 2 exits. Started a tequila company called Los Dos. It's my first drink. It's fantastic.
I saw you tweet about that today.
Yes, it's so good. I got it today, and I'm so excited. I'm like, oh, I'm making a drink for my conversation with the ladies, and so
Yes.
I'm calling it Fantasy Football Tequila, right?
I think you're my spirit animal.
Perfect.
Pretty sure you're my spirit animal.
Well,
Just
basically,
so you know.
because Lauren and tequila are BFFs, or not tequila, vodka. Wow.
I do like myself. Actually, tequila and I have we have a complicated relationship.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah.
like love-hate. Like,
yeah.
I love tequila, but it tends to hate me the next day. So, we're working on it. If I wanted to put this into like Facebook terms, it's complicated.
It is complicated. I will say that I think that the tequila won't hate you as much the next day should you maybe not overconsume and just enjoy and love on the tequila. And then also the quality of the tequila, which I have found,
absolutely.
That makes a huge difference. If you're drinking junky tequila, I won't do it anymore. I'm an adult. I don't need junky tequila.
I feel like that's the case with hard liquor in general. Like, if you're going to drink cheap liquor, it needs to be after like your 4th like good drink when you don't know any difference. But you don't want to start with cheap liquor because then you'll just regret it immediately. So back to my original question. What is
I want to talk about booze. Like, we are so informative here on Women of Fantasy Football, presented by No Punt Intended with Club Fantasy.
I mean, that would be weird. No, but
what is in your drink, Stacie?
So I've got the Los Dos, and then I actually have a little bit of this with me. This Waterloo lemon lime that I get at Costco.
Oh my God, I love
it's so
that.
You literally are Lauren's alcohol spirit animal.
This is for real. Did we know each other in another life, Stacie?
Feels like it. It feels.
I think we did, because that is my life. So I have this beautiful gem, Faith. I do have my cup still, but I broke the lid again. I know. I can't. You can't touch it. I dropped it.
Oh,
wow.
It's an accident. Actually, technically, I swiped it off of the table, gesticulating a very important
Yes,
point of which I don't
later.
remember what it was, but I was like, wow, and then just launched it right off the table, fell down, cup is fine, lid shattered into pieces. This is now my third lid I'll be on, Stacie. It's not a good situation. Hence why I need cups with lids. I'm like a 2-year-old. I'm like,
You're like a little kid.
does it have a sippy cup? Because then I'll be fine. Yeah, but so what I do is I do a shot of vodka, and then
Yep,
the rest
yep.
of it is usually club soda or a flavored club soda with like a splash of ginger, splash of cran, very light, very bubbly, very effervescent. I would like to say just like my sunny disposition, but that's only on a really good day. Sometimes I can be very salty.
I love it. Light and bubbly.
I wish. Faith has this adorable sign behind her that I know you can't see, but it's something about like happiness, rainbows, and sunshine. There we go. Laughter. What is this?
Laughter sparkles like sunshine.
Sparkles like sunshine.
Yeah, that's not what I said this morning when I woke up.
No.
Honey, that is never what I ever say.
I know. Okay, so Stacie,
why?
Yeah. Oh no, it's great. That needs to be my mantra. I need to wake up with that, like facing me and be like, remember. Actually, mine's really cute, and my betterment says, "Always kiss me goodnight."
Oh,
what about
me, hubby? I know. Heart melt. Yay. Stacie, let's go back to fantasy football here really quick because I could go on a diatribe about how much I love, cute sayings and booze, which doesn't say much about me. I am an adult though. I am above the age. But I would love to ask you, what is your favorite way of playing fantasy football? So we know you're in the legislation, you're in that push behind it, trying to get all of us to be able to play fantasy football the way that we would like to play it, however way that would be. But I mean, do you like Dynasty? Do you like redraft? Do you prefer DFS? Do you like best ball? If you had your choice and you're sitting down and you're like, this is my favorite league, what would that league look like?
It's probably a redraft superflex league. And I think that is like, because the company that I worked for 15 years was a superflex style. And I really enjoyed that because it wasn't always beneficial to start that second quarterback every week, right? So you kind of had to really think about, is it a second tight end? Is it another receiver that has a good matchup? And I think that's so important because sometimes people would just plug and play, right? 2 quarterbacks without really looking at the matchups.
And they assume it's automatic.
Yep, exactly. So I think that that's probably my favorite. I do love playing Dynasty. It does cause me to like really dig deep, right? And I think I told Faith that one of the things that I love about fantasy football is I'm a huge college football fan. And so one of the things that I, feel like I bring to the table, whether it's just me playing by myself or I have a couple of guys who I play with, Rick Wolf and Glenn Colton, shout out Colton, the Wolfman, 2 of the best guys in the industry. They'll say, all right, you've got to be on rookies. Like you've got to tell us what we need to do and who we need to be targeting. And it's fun to like sort of have a role in the Three Amigos. So, but I think that sets me aside or sets me apart from other people who I play with. Is knowing who those younger guys are and what system they're coming out of and whether or not that's going to translate to the NFL.
It's really important. I actually started not in fantasy, but I started my love of football with college sports, with college football is what I loved so much. And then transitioning into the NFL was a little bit later on in my football journey. So I do love that because you're talking about guys that are not getting paid at that time to play college, play college football. And it was simply about the love of the game. So I love that. I love that take. I think Dynasty folks are like either super crazy or you're like mad scientists because I can't with Dynasty. I am so instant gratification that I'm like, but I want to win now. And I don't build well. I am terrible at that. I'm so bad.
You should be thinking that way. That's the other mistake that I think people make with Dynasty is they're like, 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road. And I'm like, but why aren't you playing to win right now? And then win next year and then win the year after, right?
Like, I don't want to be the Cleveland Browns for 16 years. I want to win. I know that was harsh, wasn't it? I'm so sorry, Browns fans.
Sorry, Browns fans. Lauren doesn't like you.
I do. I love it.
I think that's right. I think that's a really good way to put it. And I saw a tweet the other night. I think it was Troy King, and I can't remember, saying like something about redraft just hits different. It just hits so good. And there is like let's all admit it. Like just doing a draft, you come out of there and you're feeling like a queen and you're like, oh my God, I totally owned it. And, whether that translates throughout the season or not, who knows? But like, it feels so good, that adrenaline rush. I am not as good at DFS still. And I've been with FanDuel for 5 years, and we have these like internal employee contests, and there are so many good players. Like these people just know what they're doing. So I've gotten better, but DFS is really hard. It takes a lot of gumption, a lot of studying, a lot of effort, and a little bit of luck.
Yeah, agreed. DFS
So
is terrifying.
I think in 2020, when we were all shut in our houses for a while, we all said, hey, sure, yeah, I'll try that, to things that normally in our right mind we wouldn't, like me joining a dynasty.
I went somewhere else with that too, but I like it.
I was talking about joining a dynasty league, ladies.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you?
I did. I joined a dynasty startup last year.
Okay.
I joined a dynasty startup this year. It's a Hogwarts themed dynasty startup though.
Oh my
really
gosh.
fun. It's so fun. The rules are preposterous, but we're a bunch of Harry Potter nerds and our chat is great. So my thing is this is really only like my third year playing fantasy football, and I am still 600% intimidated by trades and by valuating trades and like valuing like former or like future rookie drafts and picks. And I'm like, honestly, I don't trade. If somebody sends me a trade offer, even in a regular league, because I'm terrible at it, I will ask 4 different people, hey, what do you think about this? Or if I just don't want to give you that player, I'm just like, no.
Well, I mean, okay.
So my issue with Dynasty is like valuing future trades and future picks. And it's just not my idea of a fun time.
Well, I mean, so this is something you have to work on, right? Like this is a week. I feel like I'm going to be like a mama bear here. I'm talking about teenagers.
Teach us, sensei.
No, I think that this is okay. So starting in like a typical redraft league and you get a trade offer, I would actually urge you to make a trade like in a redraft league first. Okay. And do that. And you're going to have a hole somewhere, right? Okay. And how am I going to make up for that hole? And I'm looking at everyone else's roster. And maybe this is like week 3, week 4, you've gotten a couple of weeks under your belt, and go see if you can find a fair, equal trade. And maybe don't do like, I'll trade you this, blue chip player for these 2 like mediocre players. Like maybe do a 1-for-1 first, just to kind of get your feet wet. Yep. And listen, I mean, the worst thing that could happen is somebody says, oh, I don't think that's fair. Okay, well, I thought it was fair. Fine. Like everyone's going to have different opinions. So Faith, when you go to 4 different people and you're like, what do you guys think? I got this trade offer. And like, do you think it's good? You're going to get 4 different answers, right?
Yeah.
And so like, it doesn't matter what those 4 other people think. It matters what you think. So I think it's really like, you have to go make a trade this year on one of your teams. And I'm not saying on your dynasty teams, but I am saying on a redraft team. You initiate. You get in there and be aggressive.
Mom!
I know. Because as women, I feel like a lot of times we're like, oh my God, are you going to think I'm stupid? Are you going to think this is a dumb trade? Or
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I agree with you, Stacie. And that's one of the things I ran into early on was I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to get made fun of for this trade, but I don't really care. Like, I do not care about your opinion of me on what my trade was, because it worked for me. It worked for them. I don't really care about your opinion. But sometimes I think that it could be the viewpoint of certain people. And I'm not saying everyone, and I'm not saying this goes across the board, but it does happen every once in a while that because you're maybe the only woman or one of a few women that is on a fantasy squad, whether it be dynasty or a redraft, you're immediately seen as the weak link. And that is what's so funny is when I get trade offers that are just absolutely asinine. And what I would actually, and Stacie, you just inspired me right now. Again, like I love it. Try to run your own trade. Like yeah, I love it. That this is why we do this, and it's so exciting. But Faith, try your own hand at like a trade and be like, go out there and pester them for some of their stuff because you never know what they'll counter with.
Yeah. Go on with your bad self.
Everybody that I
go on with your bad self. Yes, Stacie, spirit animal.
You are spirit folks. So you guys heard it here first. Everybody that I am in a league with, all 11 leagues.
Watch out for my trades. That's fine. I'll take it.
So I don't know if you touched on this earlier, Stacie, but I do have another question for you because the whole point of this is what we like to do is highlighting women, not just in fantasy sports, but women who love sports, women who are in the industry. And for anyone, I've been asked this question a lot, and sometimes it's hard to answer because I feel there are so many answers to it, but I would love to get your take on this. If you could go back and say anything to your younger self to help you moving forward, what would it be? And if you didn't have anything to change, why is that? Talk us a little bit through your process of getting from younger Stacie Mini to the Stacie that you are now, and that strength and that intelligence and that just aura that you exude. That's like, I'm boss lady.
That's so nice of you to say, by the way, because it's funny. I'm super insecure about a lot of things. And, but I think that this industry is made up of some of the nicest, most like grounded people who are authentic. So you can be yourself and you can be real and you don't feel quite as judged. I don't know that I would change anything. I'm very happy with where I am in my life, with my career, with my family. What I would say is to people who, maybe there are women out there who want to get into the fantasy sports or sports betting industries, and they don't really know how to do that, is be willing to do something a little bit different or look at avenues that lead you to the industry that may not feel traditional, like a traditional writer or analyst. And because I'm in the government affairs section, and I'm working with passing laws and getting regulations going, it's not like an analyst position, right? I'm not a fantasy football analyst. I mean, maybe a little, but more for fun. But there are a ton of jobs in like marketing or customer operations or all these different things with all the companies are hiring. Every company. I know Prize Picks and Underdog and FanDuel and DraftKings, like all hiring. So if there's something that you want to do and you're like, all right, I'm going to see about going into the industry, then you can move laterally once you're within one of those companies. But you've just got to be open to like, all right, well, maybe this isn't the path I thought I was going to travel, but here I am, and I'm just going to take it and run with it.
I love that. And it's kind of one of the things that I 100% agree with you on. That way of looking at things is that there is no such thing as the wrong path or a bad path. It's really like God bless the broken road, because there are several different ways that you can get to, maybe not the same spot, but get to that place that everything happens for a reason, and everything that you've gone through will make you stronger and grow as a person. I do have one last question left for you from myself that is totally arbitrary, and it may catch you by surprise, but it's one of the questions I really like because I feel the answers are very interesting. Okay, on social media, what is the most annoying thing in the world that you cannot stand to see or read or hear on social media? Anything you want. There's no right answer to this. The most annoying thing in the world. One of our previous guests has said before, choreographed dances.
Oh,
right?
Well, that doesn't bother me. Yeah,
I kind of like it, but hey, to each his own.
Exactly.
I think it's probably going to have to be, I'm going to just say like DFS Twitter and these guys going after each other, and they all are just terrible. They are terrible to each other. You're the worst. You're a fraud. No, you're a fraud. It's calling each other a fraud. You took my stuff and you posted it as your own, and at least put my name on it, and you're like, okay, whatever. But it's like, I feel like DFS Twitter is like a bunch of kindergartners, and somebody's got to like wrangle them up. Yep.
I only know one like big name in DFS Twitter, and that's Chris Robin at Detroit BC. He's probably one of the chillest people on Twitter, because he'll like, I don't know that anything bothers him. He'll let whatever roll off his back, and if you come at him, he's just like, okay, whatever, that's your opinion. But he's also like mad talented when it comes to DFS. And I was like, how?
So is he always posting like screenshots of his winnings?
No.
Oh, that's something that really annoys me too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, stop bragging.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. Like, I get it if this is your industry, this is your job, and you want to show that you're successful, and therefore people will subscribe to your product. But like, there's a balance, and then just the I'm going to say a bad word, but the shit talk between them, it's like, just stop. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have a question. We have a question, which actually lines up with a question that one of the Club Fantasy writers actually personally is affected by, because he lives in New Mexico. So Chris Molina wants to know if there's been any lobbying in New Mexico recently about legalized gambling and sports gambling. And so there's an answer for that. But then also, can you make a case for the states that it's not legal in, why it should be legal, other than you're an adult and you can spend your money how you want to?
I mean, for sure. So in the states where, and look, we're at about 30 states where some type of sports betting is legal. In New Mexico, they actually have legal sports betting at the tribal casinos. And the tribes actually just sort of decided that with, I don't want to get too detailed, but like with Indian gaming rules, the way that they are with the federal government, they're like, we can actually offer sports betting because it's class 3 gaming. We have class 3 gaming. So we're just going to offer it. The problem is that people have to drive to the casinos. It's not close to where the population centers are. So mobile sports betting is going to be tough in New Mexico over the next couple of years. It's probably going to be like 2024, somewhere in there is my best guess. And it's going to have
That's
to be.
That's actually not too far off.
No,
that's
not too bad.
That's kind of impressive.
But, you know, like I know people want to do it now. And here's the issue. And this goes to your second question about why should, you know, other than just, you know, sort of the libertarian in me, like adults should be able to do what they want to do. But it is, there's a very pervasive black market right now for sports betting. And why that matters is twofold. Number one, you're sending your money offshore to companies who you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're doing with your information. They may or may not pay you. You know, you may or may not have placed the bet you thought you made. And all of a sudden it changes to something else. And you're like, wait a minute, that's not the bet I made. It's just, there's no oversight and you have no recourse if you want to get your money back. Second thing is there will be about 2 or 3% of the people who have an issue with gambling and it's an addiction issue. And if we're going to seriously address that and have a safe haven for them to go to, offshore market's not going to do that. Regulated betting, they will do that. And we do that. Responsible gaming is a really important piece of having a regulated market. So rather than sort of send people to their local bookies or offshore to a Bovada or my bookie or someplace like that, you know, to have well-run and well-regulated and well-known names come in and offer sports betting in all these states is important. So that's part of the reason that I think it's important to get sports betting legal in all 50 states.
That is super. I really like how you brought in the place to you know, offer the sanctuary for, you know, one of the biggest elephants in the room when it comes to doing any kind of betting or gambling, when it comes to those who do suffer from addiction because of it. And that's nothing I really hadn't put that together in my mind about how, like, this isn't necessarily promoting this or that. This is actually creating more of a lifestyle and a culture of where this can be both treated, accepted, run correctly, as opposed to, I mean, because this isn't like James Bond. I can't just like store my money in a Swiss bank account somewhere, you know, like no one will ever know.
I mean, maybe if you have a lot of it, I don't know, but you know, it's
Lauren, are you hiding a lot of money in a Swiss bank account?
Oh, millions, obvi.
Makes so much sense now.
Yeah, that's me. I can't get my hair cut, but I'm hiding millions.
All her DFS money.
Switzerland.
I get it now. The redneck Riviera. So much sense.
Oh, inside story here, Stace. So I have a very tiny backyard here in Florida, but you can't like live in Florida unless you have a pool. So I bought like $100 like above ground Intex pool. It is so wonderfully redneck. No, Walmart. But yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing. Actually, no, Sam's Club. So I lied. I mean,
So it is Walmart.
Was it Walmart? I can't remember where I got it from now, but
Well,
I do have like a
Sam's Club and Walmart
filter.
are the same parent company.
Whatever.
So.
I got it from one of those box stores, and it's got chlorine in it. I've got a filter in it, and I wrapped it in like the bamboo fencing. Yeah. I made this $100 pool look like $115. It's awesome. But her name is the Redneck Riviera, and that is a place where I enjoy going and cooling off, because honestly, it's not that much cooler than the air around it because it's about the size of a bathtub. But I like to say that I have a pool.
It's bigger than a bathtub because
that's all I got.
More than one person in it. So
the Redneck Riviera.
The Redneck Riviera.
So bad.
That's outstanding. Good for you guys.
Listen, when I was growing up, my dad built pools before I was born, and we only ever had an above ground pool because, to quote my dad, you get just as wet and it's a whole lot cheaper.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, I have a pool. It's in the ground. It is expensive to maintain, and yes, so I can totally identify with what your dad's saying. And if that's what he did all day, he probably didn't want to maintain.
Oh, for sure. He's like, because pools are not cheap. It's a hole in the ground with concrete and water and piping and all that fun stuff. And I get it. It's great once it's in and it's all of that, but it's expensive. And it's a lot to maintain. And then you got to brush it unless you get like the sucker vacuum that just dries itself around the pool, all of that.
I do have the sucker vacuum. Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah. It definitely helps. And a pool guy. Also, you got to get a pool. I mean, that's the thing that makes it so expensive. You've just got to hire someone else to come do it.
Exactly. That's like the discussion of if you're talking about giant houses and you're like, oh, I love this house. It's huge. And they're like, well, yeah, but why would you want to clean it? I'm like, first of all, if I am rich enough to own a giant house, I'm rich enough to pay somebody to clean it.
True story.
Let's not be confusing.
Let's be real. Why did Lauren leave us? Is she over us now?
I know that she has been going through something, and I know she also did say earlier that she might need to make a new drink, so she may have gone to get a new drink.
Well, that's important.
Sure.
No, that's
she's back.
She's back.
We weren't talking about you at all, Lauren.
Nope. I was like, wait, why is she leaving? What's going on? Why are you leaving us?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Well, you know what? Scott Kobe, whomever, however you say that. This will be a weekly thing for the next 3 weeks.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Yeah, you guys, I saw your guest list is phenomenal, and some of my favorite ladies in the industry. Like,
I am so excited.
You have such a good guest list, you guys.
It's unbelievable. And this is also a huge thank you to you too, Stacie. The generosity that people have in this industry with their time is one of the things that you were talking before about how people in this industry are actually inherently really good people.
Yeah.
And for me, what I love about fantasy is that it turns blind. Like, people kind of tend to forget that I'm a woman when they're reading my work or when they're listening to me, because then it doesn't really matter. Because if you have, your research and you have your take and you have something to back it up with, this whole industry is basically about one thing. It is educated guessing. So what is your argument for this? Because is there really a right answer prior to that game, let's say, happening? There really isn't. And it's about forming relationships, which has been so much fun to be a part of Women of Fantasy Football. I mean, that's how we got to be such good friends with Faith as well. And it's one of these things that you never really forget and you never really let go of, is we're all sisters, we're all brothers and sisters in this industry together doing the same thing. We are grinding for something that we love to do. And it's a ton of fun. And I love it.
And I think, just like Lauren said, we are like brothers and sisters, and it shows sometimes, because sometimes we will have each other's back, and then the very next second, those same people are bickering, just like siblings. And then they're back to being best friends the next day. I think fantasy people, as a general rule of thumb, are fantastic, but just like we're all humans, sometimes we get hurt. Sometimes somebody doesn't agree with our take and we take it personally. And just, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you can't take this stuff personally. I think Twitter has really shown us like you can't worry about what people's opinions are of your thoughts, of your analysis. Just let it be. I had a story a few years ago where I was drafting with my friends, Colton and the Wolfman, at the FSGA Experts League draft. And we drafted Darren McFadden in the second round. And we knew he was going to have a big year that year. And of course it panned out for us. But that night, I got so much Twitter hate and a lot of like sexist stuff that like not terrible, like stuff other than like get back in the kitchen. And I'm like,
oh, I love that. Weren't you barefoot and pregnant? Like, really?
I don't cook. I mean, a little, but like really my husband does all the cooking. But so I was like, you don't want me cooking. You want me drafting. Like that's where you want me. So I remember being a little bit upset that night, and Rick Wolf, he's the most generous and kindest person on planet Earth, was like, who gives a shit? Like he put his arm around me and he's like, I think this is funny. Like I would read that. I would retweet it. I would love it. I would, whatever, and put it out there. And thanks for the advice, buddy. So, I was like, yeah, that's right. That's the attitude. So I just, but it's so sad that Twitter has become such a hateful place. And this industry really does have some of the best people and supportive. And if you want to be in it, you're going to find a path if you work hard and meet the right people. And you guys going to Canton, which I was going, that's going to be amazing. That's going to be fantastic.
I'm super excited.
I'm so excited. Yes. So it's going to be fun. And interesting to put faces to names, to actually see people in real life, because you can interact on Twitter. Hey, this is fantastic. I love you. And then I feel like all of us are going to get in a room and just be really awkward. I mean, like,
not with me in there.
I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, Faith, you might be quiet at first, but then you'll warm up. Lauren's going to be like, what's up, guys?
Hey, that's how I roll. No matter, I mean, I'll throw in a little story here. My mom recently passed away, but one of the things that Kate talked about was how her mother had passed away, and she really wanted her to get into writing, which is so funny because I have a Bachelor of Journalism from the University of Missouri, and I graduated magna cum laude. Like, there you go. Took 10 years off my life. It was really hard. And then it literally just came about. I played sports my whole life. So I combined sports, I combined my love of journalism, all of those things to turn it into fantasy football. And like I said, my mom recently passed, but she told me, she's like, Lauren, never ever give up the fact that you can make friends with a polar bear, but you can also beat up a polar bear. Never forget those things, because one of the things I love so much about Twitter is that I find very little hate on Twitter. And if I get it, I just mute it and move on. I've had so much support and love and inclusiveness, and like I said before, kind of blindness to color, gender, age, anything, that it has really just kind of made me believe in humanity again. And like, hey, like, people are good. Who knew? I love this space. And it's especially very important and special to meet people in the industry like you, Stacie, who are going out and doing these things that women like us, and then even younger women and younger girls even who may be getting into this, can see, I can make it. I can do this. I can go into the legislation of it. I can go into the analysis of it. I can go into the editing version of it, or I can go on TV if I want to do that. It's all about opening up a door that some women may not have ever known existed. But like you said, you can move laterally around. It takes some grind. It takes some hard work, but that's life. It all does. And just to be able to show we can do this and have a really darn good time drinking some Tito's, drinking some Los Dos tequila, and having a great time. Just all of us together and enjoying how much we just love this industry, love this space, and love what we do.
It's awesome. So good.
Was that very Dr. Phil of me? I feel that
was very Dr. Phil of you.
Was it? Was it deep? I feel like I need to like get a sweat rag or something like that.
Woo. Yes. Yeah.
Preach.
Stacie, thank you so much for joining us. For wrapping up our very first episode for year 2 of our Women of Fantasy Football event. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you and how to keep track of any pending legislation in their state.
good one. Okay, so they can find me at Stacie Stern, spelled StaciEstern. You know what? Wherever they live, they probably have like some of the articles in their local paper. Well, no one reads the paper anymore, but local websites. You know who's really good is Ryan Butler on the Action Network. And I think he's at Butler Bets. He is following all the states, so that's really important. And we're going to get fantasy sports in Arizona and Louisiana this fall. Woohoo! So,
Heyo.
yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Stacie, again, thank you so much for joining us.
It was a blast.
Yeah, I mean, this
I had a
again, Lady
fantastic
Boss.
time.
Lady
Yeah.
Boss,
Lady-
spirit animal,
Lady
cloud
Boss.
nine.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
and
go geek
Lauren
out after this.
are-
They're like, yeah, no, I just talked to. I mean, I'm cool.
Stop.
You and
Oh, this
Lauren
is cool.
very much are like universal twins.
I love it. Well, Faith, thanks for asking me, Lauren. It was so great to talk with you, and thanks for having me on. This was really fun. Let's do it again sometime, shall we?
Yes.
Please.
Okay.
I'm in.
All right, ladies. We'll see you
Thank
later.
you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Stacie. Thank you so much again.
Lauren.
I'm freaking out right now. That was Stacie Stern, Faith. I can't with my life.
Not only was it Stacie Stern, but she was like chill and normal, and she talked to us like we were all best friends because now we are.
Because I felt really good about myself. I was like, I am a hashtag adulting right now. And I feel so good.
Because our hair looks good.
Oh, mine does not, but that is okay. Sorry I had to like bust out of there, y'all. Situation
Okay.
arose that stepmama Lauren had to go take care of, but all is well.
I had one earlier. So you know what? Now that we have handled our
Hashtag real life, am I right?
hashtag adulting, now that we have had fantastic conversations and handled all of our girl power business for this episode, what do you say we let Josh join us again to, you know, do some housekeeping?
I'll think about it. Hang on. Okay.
Josh, whenever.
Welcome back in.
You
buddy.
ladies are so sweet. Seriously, job well done. Thank you, Kate Michelle. Thank you, Stacie Stern. Absolutely fantastic. And I'm so incredibly honored that the three of you hopped on to the first episode of year 2 of Women of Fantasy Football to get this thing
Agreed.
kicked off.
Hats
because-
off.
Mhm.
And hats off to Faith for booking such amazing guests.
Oh my
not just
gosh.
today,
Yeah, this wouldn't happen if it weren't for
but the
Faith,
future guests that you're about to see over the next 4 weeks. So
which are
Wow.
incredible, BT
You
dubs.
thought we fangirled tonight? You ain't seen nothing yet.
you ain't seen nothing yet. Absolutely.
Honestly,
I need to like
24
meditate about my disposition moving forward week to week.
one of our guests, I think the hardest part will be keeping Josh out of.
Oh,
Mhm.
true.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll
That's
wait
why
till
I'm
we get
glad
there.
that she's leading off that particular show, so I can fanboy out beforehand off air, so we don't have to worry about that.
By the way, your hat's crooked.
My hat's always crooked. I do that for a reason.
No, and I always say it every time I see it.
I know. Every
Continue.
single time. All right.
I mean, it's
So-
a Yankee hat, so it's terrible to begin with.
Now I'm
Go
gonna
Cards.
boot you from the stream, Faith.
She's a Red Sox fan. I'm a Cardinals fan. This is like a situation.
That's
That's all I'm
Josh,
hearing is
remember-
jealousy here. That's all I'm hearing. So
Yeah. Remember this weekend, okay? Yeah, you don't want to boot me. Mm-mm.
Oh, just saying. What we got next on tap?
Faith, let everybody know what the guests are coming on next week before I announce the raffle items that are getting ready to go live.
I have to go find that information.
It's literally on the sheet. Come on.
Oh, is it?
My entire thing just completely pooped out.
Oh,
Yeah,
we have another
we
one
are
of my
so
favorite
good at
people.
this, y'all. I swear.
Hey, at least we made it through the entire show.
Whatever, we have a good time. Quit your laughing over there, crooked hat.
I was dying laughing throughout the entire thing backstage. This was
I've been doing way
just
too many
absolute
raspberries this whole time. I need to
joy.
stop that.
So much fun.
So, kicking us off next week is our another fabulous lady boss who also joined us last year. You love her and know her, and some of us are in an all women's league with her again this year. It's Liz Loza of Yahoo Fantasy. Hello.
What? I love Liz Loza. She's
Can I
amazing.
just tell you, if you don't follow her on Instagram, you're missing out on.
Oh, yes.
Yo,
Probably one of the funniest human beings ever, too. She is a riot.
And former swim team member. I was like 12, but it's still part of my identity that I was formerly on a swim team. Katie Ledecky is hands down my favorite female swimmer. And Liz Loza got to interview Katie Ledecky, Olympian gold medalist Katie Ledecky. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I came across her Insta story and my jaw dropped. I was like, what? Anyway, so Liz Loza is our first guest. And then the football girl herself, Melissa Jacobs, is joining us next week. I mean, Melissa.
We've got a star-studded lineup. It's pretty great. But I think it's okay. I actually know I lied. I was going to say it's possible that the giveaways are just as good as our guests. But like maybe they are, because when Josh told me the lineup of our giveaways for this year, I'm like, do you need money? How do we work this? I'm just kidding. But these giveaways are unbelievable. So besides Liz Loza, besides Melissa Jacobs next week, Josh, please tell the people what they have the honor and privilege of being able to win and how they do it.
So if you head over to womenoffantasyfootball.com, you can see and start buying your raffle tickets.
Is that open now?
To win. Yes, it is open now for a chance to win a signed Devontae Adams jersey.
Sir, that is Devont Bay.
Devontae
Adams.
Devont Bay.
And a chance to win a signed Justin Jefferson Vikings jersey.
Oh boy, I almost brought something up in this podcast, but I didn't, my good friend. I didn't want to embarrass
Oh, it's okay. That's okay. That's literally why I got this jersey, to pay off that bet. So once again, head over to www.womenoffantasyfootball.com, click on the Win Me graphic, and it will take you to where you can go. $5 buys you a raffle ticket for a chance to win. You can buy as many raffle tickets as you would like to increase your odds. We gave away a Travis Kelce signed football today. We gave away a Kyle Pitts signed football today. And we raised $430 for the Women's Sports Foundation.
Yes!
So all of that money that you spend on these raffle tickets for these jerseys over the next week will be combined with that $430 to go to the Women's Sports Foundation.
That's so exciting. Well done. Well done.
Fantastic. Well done to all of you. So once again, I am Faith Enes at FF_Leap of Faith. You can find my friend Lauren at Stepmom Lauren. You can find Club Fantasy at Club Fantasy FFL. I guess you can find Josh at the One Hudsonian if you really want to.
Don't worry about me. I'm actually going to hop off this stream because it's not about me. It's about you.
Him and his crooked hat.
Him and his stupid crooked hat.
See you guys.
Thank you for joining us for episode 1. Make sure that you are back with us next week, 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, we will have Liz Loza and Melissa Jacobs along with your winners of a signed Devont Bay Adams jersey and a signed Justin Jefferson jersey. And maybe we can get this story next week from Lauren on why Justin Jefferson means so much to her regarding Josh.
It's a story. It's a story. And I will tell it to y'all next week. Just remind me because I'll probably forget.
Probably. I might. So for those of you who are going to Canton, we will see you this weekend. And for everybody else, we're sorry. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Baby.